The spring of 1994, Carl phoned me one day and said, I found a Halifax. I believe that there's been so many good things happen to bring this all together that the chance opportunity of Carl meeting these gentlemen who knew where the aircraft was, the meeting with the people who are doing the salvaging, the help we've received from the government. There's some 2,000 veterans in Canada who have donated money and become members of the Halifax Aircraft Association. And all the dramatic letters that we have received from all these people who have not only talked about how great that wonderful aircraft was, but how important it is that it be restored and maintained in the memory of their comrades who have passed away. And I'm part of this, and I feel, I don't know why I am, but I'm sure glad. It's hard to realize that I was a 20-year-old kid, and here I am, an old man, and I'm playing a part in history, and I think that's probably what it's all about.
In 1960, after RCAF Vulcan was closed, a remaining Lancaster bomber was bought and dragged across 30 miles of prairie to the nearby town of Nanton. Over the years, the Lancaster was restored and became the centerpiece of the remarkable Bomber Command Museum of Canada. Volunteers from the museum, in honor of Canadian, American, and Commonwealth airmen, built a stunning wall of remembrance featuring the names of those who fought and died fighting for freedom. When I was a young man, I flew with my best friends. We took to the blue skies and followed our captains. The times called for fighting, but we knew that our missions were standing for freedom again and again. There's a wall in the town of Nanton, Alberta. There's a wall in the town with the names of the men who have fallen while fighting for freedom. In our memories they'll always remain. In our memories they'll always remain. The Canadian-American connection was expanded with the creation of a special Canada-USA project by the Bomber Command Museum of Canada and Halifax 57 Rescue. Director Carl Kasgard has been honoring veterans for years. His latest projects are in Sweden, England, and Canada, featuring the recovery and restoration of Halifax aircraft for the museum. His special programs include the recovery of aircraft NA337 from Norway, Halifax LW682 from Belgium, the Bomber Command Museum of Canada, and the magnificent Bomber Command Memorial in London, England. Aluminum from the RCAF combat Halifax aircraft recovered in Belgium was melted down into ingots and eventually became the ceiling of the memorial in London's Green Park. Dedicated by the Queen of England, the aluminum is the Bomber Command Museum of Canada's contribution to honor the airmen of Bomber Command. The Bomber Command Museum of Canada, RCAF American project, is simple. With over 8,000 Americans from 48 states joining the air war, we have reached out to many American states with a list of names of those American patriots and Canadian warriors who fought in World War II. Of the 8,000 volunteers who came to Canada, over 800 American airmen never made it home. Men like Tom Withers. His family, including his younger sister, remembers his sacrifice for freedom.
We lived in the country, and you could see the mail carrier go up the road, and I would say to Mother, do you want me to go get the mail? And most days she would say yes. There were days when she'd say, no, I'll get it later. First raid he'd been on since the 1,000 bomber raid over Cologne that he flew in. And I don't think it was long at all when the message came. The telegram that everyone dreads that has anyone in the military. We regret to inform you A little healing, a little less pain over him. Even though I was just a child, we adored him, all of us, all his siblings. Just we looked up to him so. He had accomplished so much. It means an awful lot.
In 2013, the Virginia War Memorial held a special ceremony as Carl traveled to Richmond for the presentation. Years later, those memories are still held in the hearts of many Virginians.
In Virginia, we think we have the premier war memorial in the entire United States. And so we think that it's appropriate that Virginia was first in recognizing the service of Virginians in the Royal Canadian Air Force, that many before Pearl Harbor, when the war was raging in Europe and elsewhere around the world, that Virginia patriots responded even though the United States had not joined the war. So to dedicate a plaque that day and to have you and all of the Canadian officials and our Virginia officials and American officials here for that dedication. This room was packed. There was standing room only, as you will recall, and it was fantastic to be able to, after all these years, to recognize these heroes that had gone, sort of slipped through the cracks. But it's so good to have them now recognized appropriately here at the memorial.
I think reflecting on why this is important to not only the historical significance, but I look at this as a continuation of the remarkable, warm celebration of friendship and love and mutual respect, and perhaps most importantly, a commitment to the wonderful ideals of democracy and freedom, and the fact that sacrifice must be made to preserve those ideals that Canada and the United States have enjoyed now for several centuries. You couldn't pick a better neighbor.